An app is never just an app. A business is never just a business. A book is never just a book. Every external thing you build is shaped by the person building it. Your clarity affects the build. Your confusion enters the build. Your discipline enters the build. Your fear enters the build. You will not be able to completely separate the structure from the builder. And that is what we're going to explore in this video. How the builder's code moves from internal to external. Identity is the person building. Expression is how what is inside that person begins to take form. As a book, as an app, a business, a service, or a decision. Structure is the process, system, and discipline that allows that expression to become real and repeatable. And power is the useful consequence, the structure that the consequence the structure produces, the value, the proof, the ownership, or the impact it creates in the world. Identity, expression, structure, power. The person shapes the idea. The idea receives a structure. And the structure produces a consequence, which is the power. That is the movement of 1331, 1331. And I can see that same movement throughout my own life in writing, books, building technology, and even in the psychology of trading. This is one of the main things 1331 has helped me understand. Before I ask what I want to build, I have to ask, who is building it? What does he believe? What does he value? What problem or problems does he care about? What standards is he or she willing to live by? Because identity comes first. Not because you have to become perfect before you begin, but because the person you are will enter the thing you create. I can see this clearly through the books I write and have written. A book does not begin with me deciding that I need to fill 200 pages or whatever it may be. It begins much earlier. It begins with, what am I learning? The books I read, the experience I have, the principles I keep noticing, the questions that stay with me. I take those ideas, I live with them, I think about them. I connect one idea to the other. And then through that process, new thoughts begin to form. Eventually, those thoughts need a body. The body becomes a book. So the book is not only information, It is a collection of learning, reflection, and thought that has passed through me and taken on a structure. That is expression. Something invisible becoming visible. A thought becomes a sentence becomes a chapter becomes a book. But expression alone is not enough. The book still needs order. It needs a clear idea. It needs chapters. It needs revision. It needs the discipline to return to it when the excitement has disappeared. It needs structure. I saw the same process when I began looking at what became specular free. It did not begin with me saying, I want to build an app. It began with a problem. I was looking at the world and asking, what is missing? What is affecting people? What problem matters enough for me to spend time thinking about it? That search led me into privacy technology. Then the idea needed expression. What exactly was I aiming to create? Who was it for? What would it help people do? Why did it need to exist? But even then, the idea was still not a product. It needed structure. It needed logic. It needed a workflow. It needed screens. It needed decisions. It needed testing. It needed to move from something I could imagine into something another person could actually use. That is the difference between seeing a problem and building a solution. Vision allows you to see. Structure allows you to build. And then there was trading. Trading shows the same code from another direction. Because the chart does not only show price, it can also become a mirror. The market can reveal what is happening inside the person making the decision. Impatience enters the trade. Fear enters the trade. Greed enters the trade. The need to be right enters the trade. The refusal to accept a mistake enters the trade. You may think you're only looking at a chart, but sometimes the chart is showing you yourself. That is why trading psychology matters to me. A trading plan is an external structure, but the person following the plan is the internal structure. You can have rules written down and still not follow them or abandon them. You can understand risk and still ignore it. You can see the correct decision and still allow emotions to make another one. So again, the question becomes, who is building? Who is deciding? Who is acting? This is why personal growth and building something useful will not be able to be completely separated. The business will expose you. The book will expose you. The market will expose you. They will show you where you're patient. They will show you where you rush. They will show you where you are disciplined. They will show you where you avoid decisions. They will show you when you are clear. They will show you when you are still confused. Every build becomes a mirror. And every build gives you the opportunity to correct the builder. This is the architecture of 1331, 1331. Identity. Who am I? What do I understand? What do I believe? What standard am I building from? Expression. What is wanting to come through me? Is it a book? An app? A business? A framework? A service? A lesson? A structure? What process will give the idea a body? What system will keep it alive after the first burst of emotion has gone? What has to be repeated? What has to be organized? What has to be finished? And then power. What does the build actually produce? Does it help anyone? Does it solve a real problem? Does it create value? Does it give people clarity? Does it become an asset? Does it leave something useful behind? Power is not the appearance of achievement or success. Power is useful consequence. So here is the practical question. Choose one thing you want to build. Then take it through the code. Identity. Who must I become to build this properly? Expression. What is the clearest form this idea should take? Structure. What systems will allow me to keep building when I do not feel inspired? Power. What useful consequence should this create for someone else? The world does not only need more ideas, it needs builders capable of giving those ideas the right body. What should I build? Ask, who is building it? Because your identity will enter your expression. Your expression will demand structure. And your structure will determine the power the work can produce. Build the vision, become the structure, manifest the power.